This episode is sponsored by Shutterstock.com with over 20 million high-quality stock photos, illustrations, vectors, and video clips. Shutterstock helps you take your creative project to the next level. For 30% off on your new account, just head on over to Shutterstock.com and use offer code GAMEBREAKER5. GameBreaker TV. And what's up, everybody? Happy Monday, happy Monday, happy Monday. I'm Gary again. You're watching GameBreaker TV. This is the Republic, episode 136 for May 6th, 2013. Coming up on today's show, Scum and Villainy. And no, we do not mean Larry's bedroom. The Collectibles UI. Hopefully somebody knows what that is on the show. And the cat people are angry. All that and more, plus your viewer questions. But first, from Massively.com, it's Mr. Larry Everett. How are you, sir?
Thundercats! Oh! I'm ready. So ready.
So ready. And joining us again, it's Laura Williams. How are you, Laura?
Hey, guys. Oh, I have my special hat because somebody wanted us to roleplay in the Republic tonight. So,
RPing
my
on the show.
That's her wizard hat.
Yeah.
It looks like a mini top hat.
It is a mini top hat.
Nice.
Like Magician's Assistant.
Wizard's assistant, maybe?
Wizard's assistant. Joining us as well for the first time ever, Mr. Dustin Liu. How are you, sir? Welcome to the show.
Doing all right. How is everyone?
Very, very, very good. So you guys are all in the same group together, huh?
Well, this guy is in a different guild. I hung out with these guys, Mox Memories of Zendor, whenever I went to the test center, and great bunch of guys. They're also number one for in server, or excuse me, in the US, number one. I think you guys
US
are.
first 16. Yes.
16. Yeah.
US first 16.
Good job, guys.
It's pretty impressive, sir. All right. Well, let's talk about some raiding. Let's talk some raiding or operationing. I don't know what do the kids call it these days?
We still call it raiding.
We call it raiding?
We call it raiding.
All right. Let's talk about Scum and Villainy, the big operation of 2.0. Has everybody been running it?
Yep.
How far have you guys gotten? How far have you guys gotten?
Well, last night we got all the way to the final boss and didn't quite make it. We got to like 5% and then just didn't have enough to actually get over the last 5%.
Which difficulty modes?
Oh,
Story.
We're just story. Come on, we're an RP server. Give us a break. Yeah, we're on story mode. We've done everything but except for Scum and Villainy. That's the only one we haven't cleared yet. But
we're close.
We will. We will next time around. We just don't quite have the gear enough yet.
Now, I don't know if this is valid, but I'm looking over at the there was a thread on the general forums this week. Anybody have some insight on this? Some people were kind of claiming they felt it was a little too easy. Do you guys think that that's the case?
Come on, Dustin. Is it too easy?
It really depends on who you ask. I mean, you ask me, it was okay. But I also had the experience of doing it both on live as well as on test server, and the differences are astronomical, actually. On test server, you're given pretty much full 69 gear. That's our full set of Arcanian and pretty much everything you wanted. And it was still hard at that time. Granted, you're still learning the mechanics, you're still learning the bosses, but in the gear that we had, we were having quite a little bit of trouble, actually. Compared to now, people are doing it in 63s, 61s, a little bit of, like the newer gear. Some people are even pulling in people that aren't even 55 yet. So some people say it's hard, some people say it's easy. Well, it depends on how well you do.
Is that a good sign? Do you think it's a good sign that there's some sort on both sides of the fence? Maybe it's kind of like dialed into a nice little pocket?
Well, it's good for, you have a very large, like a varying degree of people that play Star Wars. Some people, they're more casual. They may not be as well versed or experienced in terms of operations and rating. Some have more experience, some come from other games, and they're a little more on the hardcore side. They know what they're doing, and they're trying to push as hard as they can. So it satisfies both sides.
How many bosses are there?
7.
7. What would you guys say overall? Kind of like a fun factor. How are the encounters themselves? Are they progressing? Actually getting better?
I thought it was incredibly fun. There's a lot of puzzles. It's just beautiful to be in the zone. You're kind of stuck in a desert oasis.
It's I'm with her. I think there's a lot of things that are positives as far as Scum and Villainy is concerned. I mean, number one, the first thing is you pop right into a boss fight. There's no trash or anything like that. That's the first number one thing. And then there's 7 bosses, so you're not just blazing through everything. There's enough strategy, enough puzzle. Not everything is exactly the same. There's a couple of like the first boss and the third boss are kind of sort of tank and spank with a little bit of change up here and there, but the other bosses have very interesting mechanics to them.
What are some of the bosses like? Because I don't know. I mean, so in the past, I'm looking at some of the bosses, and again, I'm not rating, so everybody knows that. But I kind of got the feeling from looking at some of the stuff that I was like, oh, another giant robot. Look, it's like.
Oh, but this giant robot is really cool because when you walk in, he's all leaning against the brick wall, like, yeah, I'm guarding this area. What you gonna do about it?
So do you feel they've really upped, Laura? Do you feel like they really sort of like upped the ante with their boss fights in Scum and Villainy?
I think there's a lot more than just standing there and tank and spank. There were some fun things like that when you have to go hide behind rocks and kill ads and the next spot. Like they have a couple of puzzle bosses, which was kind of fun.
Dustin, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I just wanted to say, in regards to Titan 6, most of their droid bosses in the past are kind of on the bland side. They're kind of very emotionless. And then you come and you see this guy. He's the huge Titan towering over you. He's got a title, too. He's a regional annihilation at reasonable rates. You take that as for how it is. They've actually given him some sort of coloring, and just a very fun fight, actually. Just a good character to it.
Yeah. So overall, I do like the mechanics of that one. That one is absolutely got the best looking mechanics because of when he goes to take off, it takes off like a rocket, like you would the space shuttle or something, because everything comes out of its feet and the whole area turns into this like supernova
that blast radius
kind of
that comes out.
It's pretty incredible.
Are there any noticeable improvements on how operations have been designed over time, like over the course of all the different patches and releases?
Let's talk
I can say
bugs.
that this one didn't really have any bugs in it.
Exactly.
At least none that we encountered, like platforms disappearing on you, or that little glowy thing that's not where it's supposed to be.
And that's one of the most frustrating things for raiders, right? Bugs, especially when they impair the encounter like close to the end, and you're just like trying to whack on it and you can't finish it only because of a bug, which we've seen in a lot of games. So that's good news. How about as far as like mechanics go themselves, as far as how they're designing the mechanics and the different phases and things like that?
I think it's a nice difference from the original. You have KP, Eternity Vault, and the original Nightmare and hard modes for that weren't really any different from story mode. It was just they have more HP, they hit harder. Right, same thing as story. In hard and Nightmare now, they're actually giving you more things to watch out for. There's more new mechanics. Sometimes it's a completely different fight simply because they change one thing here or there. And because of that, it may sound like it's the same thing, but you wind up having to do something completely different from what you would normally do.
I think they've really stepped that up. Whenever you get a situation where you're running from story mode to hard mode, like Dustin was saying before, it was pretty much okay. We're just going to increase the HP. Now they change the mechanics. They make it a different fight. That's what makes it interesting. That's what makes what they're doing, and especially and then we don't even attempt. We haven't even attempted EC Nightmare mode yet because the mechanics are so much different than hard mode version. So that's pretty exciting.
I think also because we haven't really had time.
Well, there's a little bit of that.
Lar, what would you say about class composition right now in the game? How's that feeling?
I still think that there is a couple of classes that are a little bit on the light side as far as being able to fulfill roles well. For instance, I'm not a real big fan right now of the power tech tank, or what is it, Vanguard on the Republic side. It's mostly because the cooldowns on it aren't. It doesn't have really good cooldowns, whereas your assassin tank and your juggernaut tank have excellent cooldowns. They're really survivable, whereas your power tech tank is more relying on the armor that he has on him. He's not really relying on cooldowns as much as the other ones are. So it's a little more, it's just harder to judge, in my opinion. And then on the DPS side, I'm still thinking that your operative, although great healer, not so good on the DPS side. There's like really everybody. The operative is outmatched by just about everybody as far as DPS is concerned. So they can do a little step up with the cooldowns on the power tech, and he'd be great. Maybe give him another one. That would be awesome. And up the DPS potential of an engineer operative, something like that.
In the end, when you decide on raid composition and what members you're going to bring, numbers are important, yes. Obviously, you want to bring those that can pump the numbers, that they're going to help you kill something faster, quicker, easier. However, there's also any kind of utility that they bring. Certain classes, you don't bring them just for their numbers. You bring them for everything else that they contribute to the raid. The problem with operatives, DPS assassins or shadows, maybe even DPS juggernauts, is they lack really any extra utility. Their numbers, if you play it right and you get, if the stars align and you get a good run on them, their numbers will be okay, acceptable. However, why would I bring, just mediocre or satisfactory numbers and no utility versus someone that can, they can bring the numbers easier, or they have more to add to the raid?
Such as the Marauder, for instance.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Marauder, for instance. Yeah, exactly. The Marauder will do the DPS, if not more DPS, than a Vengeance Spec Juggernaut, and the Marauder also has the utility of Bloodlust, which increases everybody that's in his group damage by 15% for 30 seconds. So no, it's not that long. 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Like that. Yeah.
So next up here, we had like next to little to no information on this. I'm hoping some of you guys can clue me in on this. But what is the situation? They're talking about a collectible UI was just announced, which is an incredibly boring name. But what is?
It is. It's a very boring name.
Is it basically a way of copying certain items so you can have them on like multiple characters at once? Is that what this is?
It's going to be a whole new...
Go ahead.
It's going to be a whole new... Let me see it, because I've got the thing pulled up here where I was reading it. It's like a whole new tab where you're going to be able to have everything that you buy on the cartel market, whether it's an actual straight-out item or a pack, and you can pay cartel coins to unlock this item across your entire account. So it's not just one character, it's not just bound to your legacy, it's bound to your entire account. So any server that you went to, if you've got this opened up, that item will be available. And right now it looks like it's just going to be items in the cartel market.
Do we know what items you can do that to?
I think right now they don't have a specific list, but it's just generally anything that, I guess, more costume-wise or just toys, something along those lines. Like,
so it's going to be... You guys think it's all going to be mostly cosmetic gear?
As of right now, they said that BioWare said that it would be just right now. It's just cartel market items. they talked about even like the ball toss. Those kinds of things are going to be part of collections. They haven't looked to expand it out further than the cartel market at this point, but that is definitely something that's on their radar to do. But we're talking about things like, for instance, what will happen is you can get, let's say, the Eradicator's war suit, whether you buy that directly off the cartel market or you get it off the GTN. That goes into a collection. It's like an achievement that you get, and that goes into achievement, and then you can pay cartel coins, and you can then unlock that item, and then that means that everybody on your account, every one of your characters on your account, that includes cross-server, everything, can now wear that item. And it's not one item. Like, you can have a whole army of people wearing the same outfit if you wanted to, and it only costs that one cartel.
Yeah, and it's a one-time cost. They said once you've paid to unlock it, then that's it. You can pull an item out for you. You can outfit all of your pets in it. You could put all of your alt characters and all of their pets in it too for one cost. So it's not going to be every time you pull something out.
Sounds like a pretty cool system.
It's not too bad. It's interesting.
It is.
It's interesting.
Definitely an interesting take.
Yeah. I can't wait to see it pan out.
Yeah, I want to talk
about.
They
said there's also going to be a couple of special things when they launch it.
Special items?
But they didn't say what they are. Yeah, special items specifically for this, but they didn't say what they are.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Keep an eye on that one. All right, we're going to talk about some cat people. But I want to tell you guys really quickly about a brand new sponsor we got coming on. I'm super excited about Shutterstock. I have been a user of Shutterstock for years. We're working on a brand new website. Brand new website. Actually, we're working on 2 brand new websites, to really be honest. And I was posting some stuff, and people actually posted the logo, and people were asking me, like, hey, how'd you guys come up with this logo? And you want to really know? Did we hire a logo designer? Nope. I went to Shutterstock. I really did. It's awesome. Most people you can't afford to hire a graphic artist or something like that, or you need stock photography. This is like the key. Make your website look actually like an awesome professional project. Go over to Shutterstock and you sign up, and you just like here I was looking for UI elements for our navigation system, and I wanted to do shields, and I just searched shield icons, and boom, you get a whole set of shield icons, really cool, like vectors and stuff. You pull them, so they have royalty stock, photographs, vectors, illustrations, icons, badges, like everything you possibly want for your project. Another one here. This is actually a tool I've been using a ton. There's this new thing called Shutterstock Labs, and sometimes when I'm trying to figure out what I want to do, it says need inspiration, enter a keyword. I just kind of enter something. So let's see. Let's look up shield icons. Let's look up some more. See what else we get. So you type in shield icons, and boom, you just get a ton of them. So it's kind of the secret how to make your website look good. Get some professional artwork, get some professional photos, get some professional icons. All you got to do is go over to use promo code on your checkout, GameBreaker5. That's the promo code. Go over to Shutterstock.com, and on your checkout, use promo code GameBreaker5. We're going to get you 30% off. It's like it's the highest discount that Shutterstock has ever done. 30% off. All you got to do is use that code. So go check it out. You're going to see a bunch of their artwork up on our site. You'll probably recognize some of it once we get the Game Breaker Nation and a brand new site called Free to Play. That's the other site. I shouldn't have probably leaked it, but somebody will probably yell at me, but whatever. Free to Play is coming. Now you know. There's the
PR team's going to get on you.
Yeah, they're going to twist. All right, so part of the subscriber base, we talked a little bit about this last week, but part of the subscriber base is still a little bit frustrated that they have to pay for the cat people. Eric Musco wrote up a pretty lengthy post explaining BioWare's opinion on this. And he said, for example, if you are currently a subscriber who has a security key active on your account, very important note right there, you will be able to outright purchase Cathar with just 1 month's worth of cartel coins. He says that we also try to give you as much notice as possible around new features like this, so that if it is your desire to purchase these unlocks, you will be able to do so solely through saving your monthly cartel coin grant. It's almost like BioWare wants you to subscribe or something, or maybe use the security key. Good way to incentivize the security key, I got to say, right? I mean, they really want you to make sure you got that thing loaded up, and I think you're crazy if you don't. And they obviously have priced this thing around subscribers, which they kept them in mind. I don't know. They've also, on top of that, I mean, we can't, you got to kind of say that, hey, they've given everybody plenty of time to save up some cartel coins. There's been plenty of notice that this is coming. So why are people still kind of like freaking out about this?
It's a tough issue because the people that are subscribed now, I'm kind of on the fence with this as far as how I actually feel about it. It really boils down to, what did they say we would get when we subscribed? Is really what it boils down to. Technically, yes, you can save up for Cathar with cartel coins, and however, they've told us that all species are unlocked to us, and Cathar is not a part of the Rise of the Hutt cartel. It is just another species that they're adding on. If Cathar had come with the Rise of the Hutt cartel, that might be something, but it didn't. It's its own thing. It's like part of the main game, and so it's kind of I don't know. There's actually a quote from Musco. I think you're coming up on it, that where he talks about what the people are complaining about specifically.
Yeah, he actually says, I believe the issue that you wanted to have addressed is that currently it states full access to all character creation choices. And as of this moment, this terminology is still correct. The subscribers do have full access to those choices. We'll be updating that page along with any others to that make similar references once game update 2.1 goes live. And I know for some, they're probably thinking, well, that's maybe an odd response, but it is kind of the truth.
Yeah, the thing is, though, and this is the way it was argued to me, and this is why I can kind of sort of see it, although I don't exactly agree with it. The way it was argued to me is, I'm buying the game. I see that it says full access to all character and creation choices, and so I buy the game based off of that sale. So I'm subscribed. I'm subscribed for 6 months. I really like this game. Cathar is introduced, and I don't have access to that, but you just said whenever I purchase the game that I will have full access to all character choices. And that's the argument. They're not making it possible through the subscription exactly to gain access to Cathar. You can't unlock it with credits. You can't. The only two ways to do it is buy it off the GTN, or buy it for cartel coins. Which
Dustin,
is
where do you sit on this?
Yeah.
Where do you sit on this one? What's your stance?
I mean, I'm a subscriber. Most of the people that are playing this game are subscribers. I really don't have a problem with it. I understand where people may be irritated, or they may be angry that, hey, or if I'm paying $15 a month, I should be able to have this automatically. But at the same time, you kind of are getting it automatically, like through the cartel coins. Yeah. In the end, people are always going to find something to complain about. That's just how people are always going to be. So if you want it, get it. If not, then you don't have to. They're not forcing it down your throat. The other option would be what? They're forcing you to buy it when some people don't want it. I think I'd rather go with, having the option of, hey, do I want it or not?
Where do you sit, Laura? I mean, do you think it's just like poor sort of text on their website information based on like a lot of assumptions of people just kind of read that and felt that it was going to be all character creation choices, including anything in the future?
I'm going to take sort of an opposite stance here. The race I see is kind of cosmetic. If they had introduced a new class, and we're suddenly saying, oh, we have this new class that you can play, and suddenly now you have to pay if you want to be able to unlock it, then I think that people would have a little bit more right to be upset. But the Cathar race to me just seems like it's a very cosmetic thing. I mean, if this isn't like other games where the races have racial abilities that make them better, quote unquote, than other races. So it's really just a cosmetic thing. Like, you still have access to every class in the game, And yeah, if you want to now look like a fuzzy kitty, you have to pay 600 cartel points.
Yeah, but
I don't think it's unreasonable.
Extending off of that, though, that argument is some people consider cosmetic things to be content, and it wasn't predetermined exactly that you would pay for Cathar all the time. You know, it wasn't this. This is content for people that you're having to pay for. Like you said, if it was another class, some people consider it as equal to another class. Or let's say it was another flashpoint. People were going to be upset by if you introduce another flashpoint and said, "Hey, guess what? You're going to have to pay 600 cartel coins." And people have got upset because of like Section X and not this, and people have been upset with Raise the Hut.
Subscribers weren't denied access to Section X. That was free to play.
Well, there you go. What if you had to pay for that?
Anything there about free to play or preferred getting full access to everything that's there.
What if you had to pay for
subscriber, if they put a new flashpoint in the game and suddenly said, "Okay, well, you're paying us $15 a month, and now we want you to pay an extra $5 to unlock this new flashpoint," they would probably lose my subscription and my business, because that's actual content that my character can progress through. That's not just a physical skin that I can stick on top of one of my existing characters to change.
And let me actually hear, like, so Musco continue with this. He actually talked a little bit about this. He says, the features and functions that you pay for right now as a subscriber will remain in place. We would not, for example, suddenly require you to pay for an unlock to run more flashpoints. On the flip side of this, though, the intent of the cartel market is to continually add new and fun cosmetic and convenience features, and in some way, circumstances. Subscribers will have to pay cartel coins to access these as well. Yeah, I mean, I kind of, I don't know, like, I kind of on the side of Lori here. I kind of would have thought that, like, a cosmetic item like this, like, you know, to unlock that, it's not really a class, it's just sort of a skin. You got to expect the free-to-play game to make some money somehow, and this is probably a big money maker for them, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, I like I said, I'm on the fence with it. I can absolutely see both sides of it. I don't want I don't want SWTOR to go out of business. I want, you know, them to continue in business, and if that means you got to pay for a skin to look like a cat, sure, all right, that's fine. I'll give that one to you. But I don't. But I can see the other side of the issue here.
You know what? It seems to me that what they really need to do is they need to be a little more diligent on their verbiage on their website and start explaining some of this stuff like a little clearer and put it out maybe a little earlier to put out the fires. But it's tough because they got to go back and they got to kind of look at every little thing and every little detail. But that would probably alleviate a lot of this stuff if people understand exactly. Because then, like this one in particular, right? Since it's a gray area, if you just read it, people are just going to make assumptions, right? People are just going to make things up. And they're just going to like assume that they get it, and then when they're not, they're let down. And then forum threads happen, and then
Well, people were upset initially that Rise of the Hut Cartel was that it cost $10 to do. People were upset about that because they figured whenever they announced it at E3, which was almost a year ago now, when they announced that, they figured, oh, this is just going to be something that's going to be given to subscribers. Well, I don't think it was ever said specifically that the McCab content was going to be for subscribers for free. So, you know, it's this, like you said, they definitely need to work on their advertising and PR as far as that's concerned, and make sure that people understand what exactly they're getting into when they get into it. And I think there would be a lot less upset people.
Here's a little bit more incentive for subscribers too. Musco said this. He said, one thing I do want to call out for Game Update 2.1, which you will see more details on in the future, is that subscribers will see a substantial discount on some of the features being implemented in Game Update 2.1, such as Appearance Designer. Not only will your monthly grant be kept in mind when pricing the items themselves, but overall things are far cheaper for you as a subscriber than a free-to-play or preferred status player. So, again, man, like they really, really, really want people to be subscribers. But I imagine most subscribers would be happy with a change like this, and they probably should be, you know, letting more people know that.
Yay, cheaper, so I can go change my look every 5 hours.
It's important. We know this.
Important.
It is.
I tell you, when I get my 80s sex kitten hair.
That's right. You know, I mean, you gotta, if you're doing Scum and Villainy, you can't wear your hair forward. You have to wear it back. So, but in TFB, it's perfectly fine to comb it forward because, anyway.
You've got tentacles yanking you down.
Quick update on the bolstering front. So, are there not much news actually going on? Unfortunately, there's not a lot going on. Eric actually talked about this a little bit. He said, it is our goal that we will get a fix for the bolster issue into our next patch. However, this is not a guarantee as we are still working through the fix. We know how important it is to get this issue resolved, and we want to make sure we do it right. As soon as I have updates on this, like timing, etc., I will let you know.
Yeah, so Eric, is the next fix going back to doing recruit gear and bolstering through level? Because anything other than that is probably not going to work.
I know there's a million jokes we can make right here about them not wanting to do it right the first time.
This is a terrible experiment, and we should just pretend that it's an abomination that never happened.
How many? Okay, Mox, I'm sure paid attention to the threads that were going on on PTS, right? When this was going on, did you guys
in regards to bolster?
Yeah, because there were threads and threads and threads and threads on this saying this doesn't work. This doesn't work. And yeah, I'm sorry. The way they have screwed up PvP just really kind of irks me. They really should have tested this so much better, and just when they were complaining on the forum that this thing doesn't work, they should have cut it and said, okay, we're going back to the old system. We'll do something in a couple more patches to make it work better.
Did they have something lined up to when they went back? That was the question. Like,
they could have gone back to the old system,
but then they'd have to design the new recruit gear, and they didn't have much time for that. Who knows? I mean, I understand where they were trying to go with it. I understand where they're trying to go with it. Like, just in general, the bolster system, and I guess wanting to have a little more fair play when it comes to gear disparity. I actually, right now, I kind of like it simply because it's a reverse of what it was in the very beginning. Right now, you can go in with the bolster. The problem is that people are finding exploits from it, like taking things off and getting more stats from that. Yes, I agree that should be probably fixed. I do like the idea, though, of giving, even though if you're running in with like PvE gear, being able to stand your ground against people that have been PvPing for ages and ages. Previously, it was possible to enter like raids wearing PvP gear. It was decent. It worked. It wasn't the best, but it worked. If you tried to do it the other way around, you try going to PvP with PvE gear, you get absolutely wrecked. And so now we're kind of seeing the reverse of it. And yes, it's turning off PvPers, but it's also having PvEers return to PvP and seeing if they like it or not. Right now, more things to work on, yes. I like where they're going with it, but probably needs to tune a few things here and there.
How is the PvP community taking it overall? Are they kind of resenting the fact? I mean, pretty much, I don't know. The expansion definitely feels like it's a bit more favor of PvE players at this point. They've kind of mixed up on the PvP
the
side.
people that I talked to pretty much said that the ones that are going in there that have been PvPing the entire time, that when the expansion launched were still PvPing, that have gotten the gear, they're doing good. They don't really notice a whole lot. They're still going in there and they're still doing their thing. I think it's new people trying to jump in, or people who are returning that maybe didn't have all the gear, that don't have all the Warzone comps to be able to get the gear, that are trying to redo that grind again to a degree, that are maybe a little frustrated. Because I definitely know I'm in that second boat.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, especially right at the launch of an expansion. I mean, the Warzones were always pretty good in Star Wars. You know, the open world PvP was always a disaster. story PvE was always definitely the focus, but I mean the start of an expansion of having this many issues with the PvP is to screw up war zones and stuff with the bolstering. It's got to be the absolute worst time that they could have something like this. I don't know. Hopefully they get this all worked out. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with Dustin. I think that the idea is good and that they should absolutely pursue it. However, test it and make sure it works before you put it on live servers, because you get this. This is what happens.
at that, if you want to test it, you also need testers. I don't really PvP that much, so I don't know exactly how much testing there was of war zones on the PTS. Yes, I knew about, hey, I can take off all my gear and run around naked and, you know, three-shot people. I knew about that, but did people continue coming back to see if there was a fix or not is the question. The reason why the raids were so bug-free is because we were in there a long time. We were there testing and breaking things because, hey, if we want it to, you know, be good when it comes to live, we got to make sure to get all the bugs out now. So, you know, we wound up throwing one of the bosses into a Sarlacc pit, and obviously that's not intended. But because of that, they knew, hey, we got to place something to stop it here. We need to fix this. We need to fix that. And it's the testers that really get that going. You need testers before you can fix things.
Is that the big problem right now? There just not enough PvP testers for them to get this content like fully fleshed out?
I mean, speaking from my experience, what I've seen is if in PvP, if you're not doing well, if something's not going well for you, I tend to see a lot of people just stop. Like, if they get crushed, they're just going to give up. They're not going to go back, especially on PTS where, you know, nothing's going to be translated over to live. You're not going to get anything from testing other than experience potentially. Yes, there are some people that will stick it out, but very few. Like when I was on PTS and I tried looking on Fleet, see, hey, how many people are on? Very few. And most of the people that were on were either preparing for raids or just toying and looking at the new things. Very few people I saw were actually queuing up for war zones and everything.
All right, let's do some viewer questions really quick. I want to tell you guys about Netflix. Don't forget about Netflix. We love the Netflix. Got a free 30-day trial with your name on it. Just go over to netflix.com/GameBreakerTV. Just use that URL. You can sign up for a free 30-day trial today. Check out Hemlock Grove, getting amazing reviews. It's a Netflix original series only on Netflix. And of course, what everybody's talking about is Arrested Development coming back to Netflix exclusively. I think it's May 26th. I feel like I got the date right. May 26th. I know it's this month. And all the previous episodes of Arrested Development are up on Netflix right now, so you can catch up watching them before the new season hits. Netflix only exclusive. So go to netflix.com/GameBreakerTV. Sign up today for your free 30-day trial. All right, let's do some viewer questions. If you guys have questions for the Republic, you can send them to submit@gamebreaker.tv. Always loves your questions. And of course, video questions. If you guys got a video question, record yourself, post it up on YouTube, send us the link, and we'll play it on the show. We love those. All right, so first up from Matthew Riddle. Matthew says, how long do you think it will be until we see another new race option added to the cartel market? And which one would you like it to be?
2.2, and it's going to be Wookiees.
Oh, snap.
Not soon enough, and it better be Torbruta.
A lot of quick answers here.
I'd like to see the Voss, actually. I think since
he gives a real answer. I see.
Yes, I would actually really like to see the Voss. If you wanted, actually, I would actually like to see the Jawas, but they're probably not going to put those in.
Oh, see, that would be awesome too. Jawas. I would
Jawas
totally
would be
play a Jawa Marauder. That would be sweet.
Who doesn't want that?
That's right.
All right, next up from Justin Onofre. Says, now that the game is 1.5 years old, I'm starting to notice more and more design decisions that disappoint me, like how they handle the dark and light side points, for example. Are there any design decisions that stand out today that annoy or disappoint you today more than they did a year ago? Laura, any thoughts there?
Yes, crafting. And I'm not talking about gathering, and I'm not talking about running missions, but I'm talking about actually sending your pets to go craft. Why does it take me 4 minutes to craft a green item, 20 minutes to craft a blue item, and like 45 minutes to an hour to craft a purple item? Are you kidding me? I mean, you just put stuff together. It's not that complicated. Why does it take you that long?
It's got to cook. it's like fine wine.
It's not. I'm not making a cake. There's no chef in this game.
I thought you guys were an RP.
If it was, then I can understand that.
If you're
That's
like
right.
if you're a fine
That's
like artisan or craftsman, doesn't it take longer to craft something like if it's a piece of fine
No.
material than it is just like slapping a blaster together?
No.
You got to carve out each one of those nooks and crannies and give it that battleware look on your armor. That
Alright, so
takes some time.
Crafting
Crafting.
drives
That gets on my nerves.
Dustin, how about you? Anything?
Well, actually, I had something along the same lines of crafting, but on a totally on another topic of it. The problem I actually have with crafting is I could be sitting there and I could have made something 1,000 times, and the next Joe Schmo comes up, learns the pattern, and learns something of the same quality. Normally, you'd have if you want something made, you'd go to someone that has the expertise in it. They've been making it for a while, but the problem is that there's no quality difference between the two of them. So
you would have liked to see more of a crafting system that sort of has a little bit
Yes.
more specialization for the player and actually means
Yes.
something.
Yes, we're actually on our server. We are well, we used to be very big on crafting. I kind of feel like the whole change to crafting was because some certain people in our server, but I won't name names there.
Larry, what bugs you more today than it did a year and a half ago?
That we can't sit in chairs yet. Come on,
Oh,
seriously. There's
how did you
chairs
not-
right there.
I thought you were gonna go for chat bubbles, bro. Really?
Well, that's part of it. But we never had chat bubbles. The thing is that sitting in chairs, NPCs are sitting in chairs. NPCs are leaning against walls. Yet we're standing there looking like idiots. That's all.
Last one up this week from Mike James. Mike just has an easy one, quick question. Will we ever see two-person speeders?
Oh God, I hope so. I want somebody to come ride in the Batmobile with me.
They gotta make
That's
this
right.
happen. They gotta make this happen. It's gotta happen at some point.
Two-person speeders. I'm with it.
Dustin Liu, thanks for coming on the show from Memories of Zendor. Where can they follow you on Twitter and all that good stuff?
Actually, we don't have Twitter, but the closest thing we'd have would be a YouTube channel. So youtube.com/Memories of Zender. That's where we have all our videos. Sometimes it's fun thing, mostly boss kills or highlights, something along those lines.
There you go. And Laura Williams, you can follow her on Twitter at VoidMinx, VoidMynx. You adopted some cats in the past 15 minutes. They just all of a sudden all show
Oh
up.
no, those are my babies. The Fatty and Zam.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for coming on the show again this week as well.
Thanks for having me.
And then Mr. Larry Everett, follow him at Shadow, SHADDOE, and of course go over read the Hyperspace Beacon on Massively. What are you writing about this week?
I'm still doing my free-to-play experiment, and in fact, tomorrow I talk about the terrorist experience that Laura and I had, actually. So check that out.
Make sure you go check that out. Go over to Massively and read the Hyperspace Beacon. You can follow me on Twitter, Gary Gannon, follow Gatebreaker TV, Gatebreaker TV, and we do the show live every single Monday at 6 PST, although the times and days may change for the next couple weeks, so stay tuned and make sure you follow me on Twitter, because it'll be a little haphazard and random on the days and times, but we'll get back to normal in about 6 weeks. So thanks so much for watching, the Republic. We'll see you next week.